Well, everybody, rumor has it that there's supposed to be a Senate debate at some point this fall. Some say next month, some say this month. Who knows? But Mike Rogers seems to be ducking them. He afraid. He seems afraid.
Well, so I've seen a tweet which Ruparaj, so this particular debate's supposed to be on Fox 2, and Ruparaj has basically reached out to Abdul Al-Sayed's team and they've said, yep, lock it in. I think they're aiming for 15th of September.
Yes.
They've gone to old Mike Dodgers and turns out that he has no interest at this point, as in he's not responded. His team have not responded. So, it surprise to anybody?
John Ossoff, let's run it back.
Yeah, let's the empty podium, run it back.
Let's run it back. I mean, I think this is a good opportunity for Abdul to make the case to just the general TV watcher that isn't very engaged about politics, but like, damn, you really are dodging a debate because you're scared.
Well, but I
honestly thought he was a little bit tougher than that, at least a little bit. Come on.
Nah, but it tracks for me for the GOP because again, these are the people who spent the better part of 2 years not even having town halls because they don't want to answer for some of the stuff that they've been standing for. They don't want to answer for ICE. They don't want to answer for the data center stuff. They don't want to answer for the economy. They don't want to answer for the tariffs and beefing with Canada. And so I feel like going into a debate where, you know, Haley Stevens could do it because at least they're, I guess, coming from the, you know, the same side. The GOP don't want to stand up there with a guy like Abdul because it feels like they would be summarily just taken to the cleaners.
It's definitely that he doesn't want to answer to Trump and the Trump shit show that we're currently witnessing. But I think on top of that, Abdul is fire when it comes to
he knows how to debate.
Stage.
Mike Rogers is going to get his ass handed to him if Abdul Al-Sayed and Mike Rogers face off in a televised debate.
By looks alone. I just don't want to point that out.
Mogged too, trust.
We finally got our first Mog drop.
Oh, sorry about that.
Point of disorder.
Sorry.
And thank you for that Gen Z reference. Welcome, everyone, to the Point of Disorder podcast. I'm your host, Norris Howard, and we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. Obviously, we're going to go over what's happening in Dearborn. We're going to talk about does Hakeem Jeffries actually know what Democrats want? And also, we're going to be talking about if Donald Trump has yet another mistress, that and much more. But before we get into that, we got to introduce you to our intrepid crew today. Stella, what's up?
Hi, guys. Glad to be back. I think this is my third time on the podcast, third or fourth. I can't believe you guys keep wanting me back.
It's all right. Voice of the young people.
Here. I'm glad to be here.
Voice of the young people. And then also, everyone's favorite, the people's champion, we got Julie here.
G'day, I'm back.
That's right. That's right. Don't forget to follow us on all of your social media. That's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, so on and so forth, at Point of Disorder, as well as at Distill Social. Now, we do want to start today's conversation about everything that has happened in Dearborn. Now, local asshole Jake Lang has decided that he wanted to descend upon Dearborn once more, which he did this week amidst much fanfare and frustration. And you know what? I will say this. The Dearborn community showed up in a perfect way and just decided to have a giant party.
Oh my gosh, it was actually awesome. I love the clips of that. That was so, like, in a moment of such hate and vitriol, they were able to come together and, like, celebrate their identity and celebrate their culture. I thought it was really beautiful.
Jake Lang's not local, though. I mean,
No.
he keeps coming in here. I mean, I want him to start playing.
He feels local. He's in Michigan every other weekend at this point.
Can we start charging him taxes or something?
Please.
Yeah, what a prick. I mean, I thought what was interesting in terms of the media coverage, and there was certainly like a push to not cover it, to basically ignore these pricks because they were coming into town and just to stir up trouble, right? Just simply to stir up trouble.
Yeah.
But I really feel bad for the local people. I mean, I know that they turned it into something that did have some joy, you know, around it. But at the same time, I mean, businesses in Dearborn, like the Islamophobia that they face anyway, like the racism and shit. It's when literal Nazis turn up, and there were Nazis there.
Yeah, it's awful.
It has to be off-putting and really how do you explain that to your kids? Anyway, that's my serious take on it.
Yeah.
I will say I'm very glad more electeds spoke out about it, like, as the day kind of progressed. But I think it's kind of insane that it took folks like Rashida Tlaib to call on people to actually say something about it for it to happen. And I feel like in regards to this, like, platform discussion, not giving these people a platform, I mean, we can use that same logic for, like, anyone, even Donald Trump. Like, don't talk about what the Trump administration is doing because that's giving him a platform, right? But it's like, people need to be cognizant of these issues because, like, any identity is political, right? Like, being who you are as a human being is political. And I think this is no exception. And the fact that, you know, the city was entirely on lockdown is something that we should have raised awareness on way far in advance because this has been planned for so long.
Yeah, and not only was it planned, but I think the thing that is further irritating to me is because the purpose of this was for Jake Lang to get on film himself being beat up by a bunch of Muslims and then allowing that imagery to be broadcast across the world and for, you know, the conservative platform to be able to use that imagery against whatever brown or black or whatever coalition that exists currently. And I'm happy that most of the community did not take the bait. I'm happy to see that the mayor of Dearborn and the police chief, that they did not take the bait. But the point of the matter still remains is that we live in a society currently where somebody says, I am going to put myself in harm's way or goad people into some sort of conflict specifically so I can use it for social media clicks, so I can use it for this fake internet clout. And listen, like, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but Jake Lang is the type of guy that does have to be careful. And I say that because the last time we had an outspoken, very conservative, very racist person, you saw what happened. Yeah. And it wasn't the people that he was talking about that got him. So for me, the way I look at it is, if we're going to continue to have people like this operating in our country, we have to continue to keep speaking out about it and maybe get some of these people to think twice. Because, listen, I didn't necessarily like Charlie Kirk, but I didn't necessarily like seeing this guy get his head blown off in front of everybody.
Students,
in
like
front of
literal
students, in front of
kids.
everyone. I was not a fan of that. So I think it's really important for us to, like, let's stop incentivizing these people to put themselves in harm's way because he's going to keep doing it. So that's my take on that. But also separately, and I feel very passionate about this because I'm someone who grew up right next to Dearborn. I spent half my life hanging out in Dearborn, shopping in Dearborn. A lot of my friends are from there. And I also want to say to the people of Dearborn and to the greater Arab and Muslim community is that we got your back. You have done nothing but provide incredible businesses and tax bases and culture to this community, to Southeast Michigan and Michigan as a whole. You will always be welcome here, and don't let Jake Lang or any other fuck-ass racist tell you that you don't belong in this country. And I think I'll end it at that.
I second that. My best friend is Iranian, and she's an immigrant from Iran. And we were having this conversation yesterday because her mom works in downtown Dearborn, and so she had a lot of cancellations for appointments where she works and stuff like that because of what was happening. And she was talking to me about, like, she's not a political person, she's pre-med, but she was like, I've always wanted to do politics, I've always wanted to get involved in politics, I've always wanted to get engaged in politics, and, like, I have this fear because of my identity and how politicized my identity is that I am going to be harmed in some way, shape, or form getting involved. Yeah. And so that's what is really, really unfortunate. And, like, seeing that and, like, her community be harmed in that way, like, definitely hurt me personally.
That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying, we're constantly talking about the ways that they want to divide us and the fear that they want to instill on anyone that doesn't look, pray, behave in the way that they do. That is what they're trying to do. And I think we have to, like, continually stand up to it and just go, no, we won't be divided, and no, we won't be scared.
No,
that's
we
hard.
will not. We will not, point blank, period. And so word out to Dearborn, you guys stood up. And you had a party. You played music. People dressed up like Spider-Man. It looked like a block party in some cases, and I just thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was the response. But we're gonna shift gears a little bit and talk about one of our favorite friends, Hakeem Jeffries, because he has once again decided to go against the grain and, completely show that there is a massive disconnect between what the people have shown that they want and what the party platform, what the powers that be in the Democratic Party want as well. It
I think we should
confounds
play
me.
that clip.
Yeah, let's play the clip.
Do Democratic Socialists belong in the Democratic Party, Leader Jeffries?
Well, what I can say is that I do not support defunding the police. I do not support open borders. I do not support abolishing the Senate. We're focused on actually solving problems that hardworking American taxpayers want us to solve, which is to lower the high cost of living in a situation where life is far too expensive in this country. That's the Democratic agenda. That's what House Democrats are fighting to achieve.
Do you think, though, that there is room in the Democratic Party under the tent of the Democratic Party for Democratic Socialists? Is it big enough?
Well, listen, I don't support the DSA agenda as has been articulated by the DSA itself. Now, you're going to have individual members who have been elected in Democratic primaries, and if they are elected in the general in November, will be part of the House Democratic Caucus. It's going to be a broad caucus.
So, yeah, I mean, to me, that just says that here's a guy that is not paying attention. This is somebody who wants to be Speaker of the House. Like, that continues to confound me when it comes to him.
They're very clearly seeding messaging for moderates right now. Like, you just cannot get away from that fact. I mean, you probably saw also the Bulwark.
Yeah.
I don't know if Stella, you got a chance to look at that, but they basically had an article out recently which was basically suggesting that Democratic Socialists, DSA, is a psyops, could be a psyops.
Right.
It's just
Right, because they came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, they've come out of absolutely nowhere. They haven't existed for, like, years and years and
No,
years.
we're just completely going to ignore the Democratic Socialist platform of, I don't know, the Black Panthers. We're just going to completely ignore the socialist teachings of, Martin Luther King when he was talking about the poor people's movement and coming together and getting people to fight against corporate power and fighting against late stage capitalism. Let's just ignore that and just say, nope, this was Republicans funding a bunch of crazy college kids and making them want free health care. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You know what makes me want free health care? Maybe being able to go to the hospital and not get put in a poorhouse because I had a sniffle. Like, maybe. I don't know. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I want to also just, like, if we were to look online and find the pillars of DSA, like, I have them here. When I looked at the Metro Detroit DSA, like, core tenets, right? It was the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, free public transit, free quality public education, the right to a union, dignified labor, and to strike, and so on and so forth. Like, where does it discuss, and this was mentioned explicitly by Hakeem Jeffries, like, where does it discuss open borders or abolishing the Senate? I'm not entirely sure about that, and I'm not entirely sure about his vision of the Democratic Socialists of America.
No, it's the boogeyman tactics, right? It's once again trying to get, people who are never gonna vote for Republicans, right? This is what he's doing. He's trying to get people who would never vote for Republicans, but also are leery on this democratic socialism thing. Is scary to them. It's a little too close to communism. That's what they keep hearing. And now you're getting told that, oh yeah, they're trying to abolish the Senate and open the borders. No one said that.
I also first discovered democratic socialism. I'm 21 now, just turned 21 like 2 weeks ago at this point. And I first discovered democratic socialism when I was 13 or 14-ish. But even before that, I was aligned with their pillars before I even knew the name of what, like, democratic socialism was as a title, right? And so, like, these are appealing values to the Democratic Party. We're seeing that they're appealing values to the Democratic Party. We saw what happened in Florida, which is crazy of all places. A Democratic Socialist won statewide. yeah, I mean, I just think it's kind of interesting, that rhetoric.
Well, I think what we need to be really careful of and remind everybody is where this all comes from. It comes from a place of like fear and money in politics, right?
Yep.
A lot of it comes down to, the fact that they want to keep it centre. Moving too far to the left means that you're moving away from the money and you're moving closer to what people actually want.
Right.
And I just want to point out, particularly like Hakeem Jeffries, no excuse. That's definitely all about money. But the Bulwark is an actual group, an organisation that was started. It's made up of Republicans.
They were the Never Trumpers,
Correct.
right?
They're the Never Trumpers, exactly. And in fact, we have to remember they probably are totally fine with taking away a woman's right to choose. And there's no doubt that the right to bear arms is sacrosanct to them, regardless of how many kids get killed at school. And they definitely have no interest in providing healthcare for all of us. So in fact, if Trump wasn't as crass as he is, they would definitely still be right behind all of his policies. So I think we just have to remind everybody of that we all get into, I think there's so much of this sort of moderate wing that the Democrats are sort of trying to move into with the likes of Liz Cheney and, bringing people like her around, is that we forget about the fact that these people are actual Republicans and they don't stand for the things that we stand for. So just reminder of that when you're reading their bullshit articles about, DSA being a psyops being run by Republicans, it's just crap.
A lot of this reminds me of, thinking about 2008, 2009, and a little bit before when you started seeing movements like the Tea Party come around, and then that morphed into what became MAGA. And it was at that point where people said, is this the emergence of a third party? And people were like, no, this is just fragmentation of Republicans. They like Trump more than they like Republicans, and therefore this is not a thing. I think what we're seeing right now with the Democratic Socialists is that there is a genuine fear that this is sort of a extra groundswelled party that could win sizable amounts of elections in this country. And I think that is starting to make both Republicans and establishment Democrats feel very antsy because, again, we knew MAGA, the moment Trump is not around, or if Trump is not a part of that equation, MAGA is not a real thing.
See, and here's my thing too with this like fear of like DSA candidates winning and tying that into the Tea Party. I think we're kind of seeing a difference from the Tea Party movement in the way that like these Democratic Socialists are actually delivering. Like we see people like Zoran Mamdani. He is one of the most popular, I think, politicians right now in the United States of America. Like when I was abroad, I met people who knew who Zoran was. They were like, that's my mayor. I was like, you know who that is? And you live in like the Netherlands? What do you mean? And so like he is an effective leader. And I think we didn't see any real effective leaders out of the Tea Party.
No, we didn't. It's a sort of continuation of that energy of here's this sort of external movement. And the thing is, because the Democratic Socialists have been a thing for significantly longer than MAGA, significantly longer than the Tea Party, significantly longer than some of these other quote unquote fringe groups, you now are starting to see that there is a actual foundation for them to run candidates, for them to win elections, for them to be able to actually gain power. And that is terrifying for people who are normally in the status quo.
And they also know how to organize. And I think that's the biggest thing that like moderates and Republicans in general, especially like alt-right Republicans lack. Like what was that guy that was running? I think he was running for like governor or senate, and he was a groyper from Florida, and he was like people were expecting him to win because he got a bunch of followers on Instagram or TikTok, and then got his shit, like literally his ass handed to him, and got third out of the however many candidates. So I mean, yeah, these people don't know how to organize. Moderates also struggle to organize and message their core tenets because they kind of lack that right now. And so, yeah, I think that's why we're seeing a big shift to the left successfully.
Yeah. And speaking of that shift to the left, we are seeing that being built upon the backs and the energy and the volunteering power of the youth. And so, Stella, here as representative of the youth.
You call me a representative of the youth every single time I'm on here.
Because you are. Listen, everybody else here has, at bare minimum, spent a little bit of time in the 2010s as an adult. And so, for you, as somebody who is coming into the game, has done a lot of work, and is pushing people to get more politically involved. You know, I wanna ask. You know, we haven't talked to you since the primary was over. You
Oh my
know,
gosh, that's
what
true.
was that like, seeing, you know, Ann Arbor and East Lansing and all the rest of these places go for Abdul?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm very overjoyed by the result. I was bouncing around from watch party to watch party all night, and I was like so anxious about the Senate race the entire time. Even though Abdul was trailing with like 20,000 for most of the night, I was still like really nervous because the margin kept getting closer and closer and closer. And so I was like, okay, you know, this could either be a very, very easy job, which I'm not saying it's going to be super easy, or it can be actually the most difficult job for like the Democratic Party to organize on college
And so you're
campuses.
saying like easier for you to help organize around Abdul as opposed to
100%. And
Haley
I mean,
Stevens.
like, even for me, like, I have explicitly mentioned this and I've been very vocal about it. Like, I don't feel very comfortable, like, being involved in college Dems if a statewide candidate like that were to win, like Haley were to win. So I'm very, very grateful for the outcome. I just remember that election night, I came home because Abdul's event closed at like 1, but the results haven't come in. So I came home and I was like, I need to go to sleep. So I go to sleep and I'm like kind of religious, kind of. And so I was like, okay, as a last resort, we're going to pray to God, okay?
Hold on, you did not get the man upstairs involved.
I was like, God, if you can hear me, this is a matter of giving healthcare to people. Like, please, please, please. And then I put my phone down. I lay in my bed, and then I open my eyes, and I see that my light is on. So I check, and one of my friends, who's also involved in college Dems, is calling me. And I'm like, okay, hello. And he's like, Stella, we did it. And I was like, yes.
And it was your prayer.
Yes,
It was
I was like, God did. But yeah, no, I am very overjoyed by the outcome, and we're already working with Abdul Sayed's campaign to establish like a college tour. Obviously, he's going to bring in a bunch of surrogates. He's also going to be going to like welcome weeks and hosting events throughout the semester. So I'm really, really excited. And I know a lot of young people are also very excited, which is nice because we get to pull in more volunteers who are passionate about the cause instead of just being like passive Democrats, you know?
Do you feel the pressure?
I do feel the pressure. I mean, the pressure is always on young people. A lot of older folks will be like, this election is in your hands. We saw that in 2024. We saw that in years prior. And yet again, people are saying the election is in your hands. Obviously, I think one thing that we have done very, very well is meet young people where they are. And young people have very similar issues that they care about, right? They like want to be able to afford healthcare. They want to be able to afford rent. They want to be able to afford groceries and gas to get around. And so being able to kind of lean on those issues and make the case that folks like Abdul Sayed are going to be fighting for them in the U.S. Senate is going to be much easier than convincing people that, you know, Haley Stevens is a fighter because she's already in office, right? But again, like, youth voter turnout, you told me, was not as high as
In
anticipated.
2024. Yeah.
No.
That's, in the primary.
In
that's
the primary
right. Yeah.
election. And so, like, I still have to consistently remind myself that we have to work for every single vote. Like, we have to knock every single dorm door. We have to table all the time on college campuses. We have to get students registered and actually make the case for the Democratic ticket. And just generally make sure people know what's at stake in this election. Because people always tell us, the young people, they're like, oh, young people, the stakes are so high every single election cycle. But the stakes are high But it's like,
You can't
I'm so
keep.
tired.
It's
I'm tired of
diminishing
hearing it.
returns.
I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's higher for you because you have more years ahead of you in terms of what you have to deal with. You know, what happens now, what any government does now is going to impact you far more than what it will someone who's, 70 years old. But I think what we have to remember as older people as well, and I talk to myself and my contemporaries out there, is we have to embrace, young people are passionate. Like when you see how excited young people are around this particular election, we have to encourage that and not infantilize them. I think as we get older, we get a little jaded and we get a little bit of tired of the whole thing, but we need to encourage young people to use their voice because they're the ones that have so much at stake, and we need to start listening to them as well. I think it's really important. I can tell you, I'm seeing a lot all around the world of young people standing up. My home country, where I come from originally, Australia, there was a National Union of Students basically held a walkout of school against a far-right political party. Thousands of kids walked out of school last week, and it was national. It was massive. It was absolutely massive. So I think we just kind of got to embrace that and say we want them. You can't just say, well, they don't know what they're doing or, they're too young to know. We have to start to embrace it and really lean into the fact that the future is on them.
Yeah, and I will also add, the reason we have this slate is primarily because of young people. Like, when we were at the Michigan Democratic Party convention, when I came and talked about that, young people had a huge role to play in getting Ellie, Garland, and all of those folks across the finish line, because a lot of them were considered underdogs in their respective races, right? And so I think young people have built up this slate to what they want it to be, and now we just have to work to get those candidates across the finish line. So we're kind of in the home stretch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you know what will happen? The old people will turn around and say, well, you wanted it, but you still couldn't get out and vote for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be much nicer than you. I mean, much more, straightforward and meaner than you, Julie, is I'm going to say, y'all need to stop being weird and selfish, older voters, all right? Because everybody has these kids and grandkids that they say they want their kids and grandkids to have better lives than they did. Well, vote like it.
Yep.
There are things in my life that I know I probably will not live to see. But guess what? That doesn't mean that I don't want to see it happen for other people. Kids who graduate from Detroit public schools get to go to state school for free.
I didn't even know that.
They get to go to state school for free. Guess what? I voted for that. I wanted it to happen. It's a thing I want. Guess what? I still got student debt. I'm salty about it, but I'm happy that I got younger cousins who don't have to deal with it. That's the way it works. Is you're supposed to push for things to be easier on the generations that come after you because they will have their own challenges. The world will be different. They'll have their own things they got to figure out. So at least let them go to the damn doctor. Shit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, circling back to this, electing Democrats is going to be easier on college campuses. It will be easier, but I also don't want this to be a game of tortoise and the hare where we think we, have it easy. We lay down, take a nap, and then all of a sudden, the Republicans are going to just sprint and cross the finish line before us.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do everything they can to suppress the vote, and that will definitely be around kids, around young people. And they'll know that's an issue.
Something I also discovered is the University of Michigan usually has city clerks up on college campuses directly, or on college campus, I think on Central and North Campus, because I go to U of M, and they're not doing that this year, which is very interesting. So I'm trying to discover why that's not happening and why they're trying to make voting less accessible to young people. So.
All right, and as we close out the show today, we definitely got to bring this up. Apparently, Donald Trump has a new side piece. Allegedly, Natalie Harp might be sliding into the Oval Office in ways that maybe none of us want to imagine. Discuss.
Okay, I'm obsessed by this because my mate John Ossoff, basically, he's getting it done. He's the one, honestly, Natalie Harp, the human printer, as she's known, that's her official role. And let's remind everybody that she's a 35-year-old. She's Trump's assistant.
She's 35?
Yeah.
Yo, I did not think she was that young.
Yeah. And she's a former host from, I think it's I'm trying to think of
Like Newsmax or something.
No,
like
One
that?
America. One America News she was
Good
on.
Lord.
And she was known for the fact that she actually claimed, she's a cancer survivor who claims that Donald Trump's health legislation basically helped her get through her bone cancer. So work that out. But anyway, what happened was John Ossoff just made he's such a clever politician. He's doing these incredible rallies and he just does these really quick clips. And he basically did a clip last week which pointed out that Trump's flying on his palace with his human printer. And he said, Natalie. And everyone's like, who the fuck's Natalie? Because everyone knows her.
Who the fuck is Natalie?
Who the fuck is Natalie? Well, it turns out that Natalie, the human printer, is basically going around. She was even included when he escaped from the plane that was basically...
Oh, yeah, when he had to switch planes.
Correct.
She went with him?
She went with him. She jumped off. He took her off the decoy plane and put her onto the catering truck with him. And apparently she leaves personal letters on his pillow, so to speak, including, "You're all that matters to me."
Are you serious?
I'm deadly serious here. Calling him her guardian and protector
This
in his
is
life.
worse than Dynasty.
Saying, I want to bring you joy. I mean, go figure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I just like to say, where's Melania? And it's created this
Melania don't
online.
care. She got something on the side,
Oh my gosh,
too.
Melania's probably like tanning somewhere.
Yeah, Melania
across
don't
the
care.
world. She's so fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is hilarious as far as I'm concerned. And all of a sudden, she's been around for ages. I mean, you might remember she was the one that was going behind him in the golf cart.
Yes. With the binders. Yeah.
Yeah. She basically prints out. She has a printer that she takes with her. That's why they call her the human printer. And she prints out tweets that are sort of fluffing him and like complimentary to him and prints them out in bold, big text so that he can read them. And basically that's her job.
You know, this is what I want to say to anybody that feels like they might be teetering with being an incel. If Donald Trump can have a lady following him around, whispering sweet nothings into his ear and dropping off perfume personal letters onto his pillow, you could do it too, man. You can achieve anything, all right? So for the young men out there who might be listening to this show, if that guy can get it, so can you, man. All right, let's end on a high note. But anyway, that's going to be today's show. We will be back next week with even more Point of Disorder, even more political shenanigans. Don't forget that you can follow us on all of your social media platforms. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all that wonderful stuff, as well as at Distill Social. Stella, where can they find you?
You can find the College Dems at MICollegeDems on Twitter and Instagram, or X, whatever you want to call it. I don't judge. And then micollegedems.org. Check us out. Donate to us. We have a donate button on there. We need all hands on deck for this semester. So please, if you have a penny to loan, please do.
All right, Julie, your final words?
Please leave us a 5-star review. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you think. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.